What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are ramping up to the release of the third set of the Transformers TCG, War for Cybertron Siege, and we are looking at all of the battle cards, and we've got just a few more that we need to have a little bit of a gander at. And I thought, you know what? We should probably have a look at a couple of secret actions that when you are attacked, really help you out. Now remember, secret actions are actions which you play on your turn, face down, and then they may or may not get played on your opponent's turn, depending on whether they do the trigger. Now, starting off with Bolster, the trigger is that one of your characters defends. Now this is a trigger for a lot of secret actions in the set, and it's gonna happen. Remember that attacking at the end of your turn, that's not an optional thing, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to attack. So one of your characters is going to defend, so unless your opponent has a way to get rid of your secret action, yeah, this is going to happen. This is going to come in. And you may play an armor onto the defender. So basically, this is kind of like new designs. It is like new designs in that it lets you play an extra upgrade. That is lovely. But it lets you play an armor specifically, and it lets you play it onto a character as they're being attacked, which means you've got a little bit more information. Now, to be fair, it's probably fairly likely that you'll play the armor you were going to play anyway. You don't generally have massive hand sizes in the Transformers TCG. It's a game where you have a starting hand of 3 cards and draw 1 per turn. And yeah, there are some draw engine cards in the game, but this is not a card of huge hand sizes like we see in other games. So you're probably not going to have a huge amount of armors in your hand to begin with. And secondly, generally, you're playing the armor which helps your deck. I'm not saying there won't be that time you can play that perfect silver bullet armor card. I'm saying most of the time it's not going to make a huge difference. I mean, a lot of the time you're going to want to play something like Force Field. And what is awesome about this is, let's say for argument's sake, it's your turn. And you are going to be attacking. And maybe you're playing a melee character in an aggressive deck, so you whack down a power sword. Now, the thing is, you get to play 1 upgrade during your turn. So, most of the time you're going, oh, I really want to play this power sword so I can do a big attack. But if I play the power sword to do a big attack, I'm not playing the force field, then in my opponent's next turn, maybe they can take out my character. This really sucks. But by using Bolster as your secret action, your action for the turn, remember they are actions, they're a subset thereof, but they are still just actions. What you get to do is play Power Sword or whatever other thing you might want. Could be a field communicator, for argument's sake. But you get to do whatever you want in terms of playing an upgrade. And then when your opponent attacks, you get to put down a force field or whatever other armor you like. But it's actually a little bit better than that. Because let's say, for argument's sake, you've got 3 characters on the field and 1 force field in hand. Your opponent might have a ramming speed in hand. So they might go, right, if they play an armor down, I'm just going to ram and speed it away. Or, to be honest, one of the cards from Wave 2, which sees quite a bit of play, is Bashing Shield. So they put down Bashing Shield as an armor, take away your force field or whatever other armor you've got. Or maybe they don't have one of those cards in hand. And if they don't have one of those cards in hand, they'll just attack one of your other characters. So they can basically focus on the one that doesn't have the armor until they've got the armor removal card and then get rid of the armor. So you essentially never get any value from it. What is great about Bolster is that you play the armor as you're defending. Which means it is too late for your opponent to play a Bashing Shield, too late for them to play a Ramming Speed, too late for them to decide to attack a character that doesn't have the armor on it. No, ladies and gentlemen, this basically guarantees that you get the full value from your armor. And that's what's so wonderful about Bolster. It's not just that you get to play an extra armor, because look, there are plenty of ways to play extra armor. One of the best ones, and it's for tanks only, but Hunker Down. Hunker Down is brilliant. Flips all of your tanks into tank mode, which incidentally means you then get all of the when you flip to this mode abilities. They all kick in. And then you get to attach an armor from your scrap pile to each of your tanks that isn't already upgraded with an armor. That's way better than this in terms of just getting armor onto the field. And then you've got stuff like new designs and multi-tool. There are plenty of ways to play extra armor. But Bolster is unique in that it is a way to play while making sure that your opponent will not have an answer. They cannot have an answer because it's too gosh darned late. That is what I believe is so gosh darned good about Bolster. But hey, maybe you don't want to play this. Maybe you would prefer a defensive formation. It's still a secret action. It's still there when one of your characters defends. But when revealed, each of your characters gets +1 defense until end of turn. Now, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. I think I'd probably prefer Bolster. Because look, +1 defense is fine, but there's a million other ways to get +1 defense. You can just play more blue icons for argument's sake, or you can play pretty much any armor. Because the thing is, there are a million different armors that give you +1 defense. Aerial Recon is a great one. Okay, admittedly it's for planes, but it's actually a utility, not an armor. +1 defense without using your armor for the turn is pretty good, but every time you attack or defend, you get to look at the top card with an option to scrap it, which means that you're more likely to hit what you want in terms of when you flip. I mean, if you want to go vanilla, you can literally just go armor plating, which gives you +1 defense. And like I've said, your opponent can always play stuff like Bashing Shield, although incidentally, Bashing Shield gets rid of armor, so if you can find something like Aerial Recon, which increases your defense without technically being an armor, that does mean that your opponent will have to play something like a Ramming Speed. They will not be able to play Bashing Shield to get rid of it. But +1 defense seems a little bit weak, if I'm honest with you. Like, if you're giving me a choice between +1 defense or whatever armor I want onto my character, I'm going for the armor every time. Now, counter argument here, what if you don't have an armor in hand? Yeah, good point. It's a very good point. If you're not playing enough armor, maybe defensive formation is the way to go, but I still don't think it's the be-all and end-all here. Now, if your opponent is attacking multiple times in the turn, I'm thinking maybe they're playing all-out attack, letting all their characters attack. Although, I had this conversation on Twitter, a couple of lovely fellows recently, and all-out attack doesn't see a huge amount of play. Or maybe it's Blur who can attack twice in a single turn. Then, you're getting +1 defense for each of your characters, no matter who's being attacked and there are multiple attacks. Then, yes, I am all in favour of this. But outside of that, I'm slightly underwhelmed, if I'm honest with you. And the thing is, we've got other secret actions that come in when you defend. We talked about Dampening Field a little while ago. When one of your characters defends, you stop your opponent flipping more than 4 battle cards. Yeah, that's... Well, I mean, it depends what kind of deck you're playing against. But against a bold, heavy deck, this really could be the difference between your opponent getting a KO and your opponent not getting a KO. And that's kind of my point here. I'm not sure how often I'm going to want to play this over the alternatives. I think a lot of the time when it comes to defensive formation, I'd rather just have Bolster, or I'd rather have Dampening Field. And that's a bit of a problem. If you're looking to play defensive formation, that is. Now, they are both orange icon cards, which means they help you when you are attacking, which is interesting, of course, given that they're cards that help you while defending with pips that help you while attacking. Just, something to point out there. And being secret actions means that you can take advantage of the new Shockwave, for instance. The new Shockwave's got a really nice skill that can play the top card of your deck as if it were in your hand, if it was a Decepticon card or a secret action. So it's going to go nicely with this. And if we're talking secret actions, we do need to give a shout out to Sergeant Skywarp. In bot mode, when you play a secret action, you draw a card. In alt mode, or when you flip to alt mode, you return up to 2 secret actions with different names from your scrap pile to your hand. So if you're playing around with secret actions, Sergeant Skywarp really does have to... It kind of almost has to be on your team. Like, if there's one particular secret action that you really like, then that's fine. But as soon as you start playing more than one secret action, you need to be putting serious consideration into Sergeant Skywarp. There we go. I like one of these cards. I personally, disagree with me in the comment section, that's what it's there for. I think Bolster is really nice. Does depend on what you've got in your hand, admittedly, but I think it's really nice. I think defensive formation is underwhelming, except in really niche circumstances. But I would very much like to know what you think. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games like Transformers and a whole bunch of others. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.